Hello, everyone. This is 2A Radio. We are broadcasting from Pennsylvania. Today is a brand new day. We are here and to discuss what is going on inside Liberia. And on the broadcast today is Mr. Ibrahim Okoli. Ibrahim Okoli is 2A Radio correspondent and one of the most active journalists right now in Liberia. We want to say, Ibrahim, welcome to 2A Radio once again this morning. Ibrahim, are you there? Okay, so this morning we're going to be discussing about the financial bill at the Liberian Senate or at the legislative branch of government. And so the Senate Judicial Committee proposed a piece of law to empower their wives and their children, and also the win across the board, meaning they went to the executive branch of government and also try to empower the president, and went to the judiciary, empower the chief justice, the associate justices, and justices of magisterial or non-magisterial justices of circuit courts. And so these are the issues, or this is a singular issue we want to discuss this morning. Abraham is like having some problem. But this is an issue that we are happy about and happy to discuss. Not happy about, but happy to discuss because it has a major implication. The U.S. ambassador recently and the U.S. government generally has described Liberia to be very corrupt, and they call it a cancer killer. And that's just about how people are focusing. When I heard the U.S. ambassador saying Liberia is a bedrock of democracy. They are looking up to Liberia as a bedrock for democracy in Africa. I feel like Liberians have to put pressure on its government, on its people, so that if people outside of Liberia are looking at Liberia in a very significant way, and people in there are doing things very discouraging to the governance process, we think we need to really, really keep to shame those people who are keeping Liberia down. Recent decision from the Liberian Senate was one of the most awkward decisions that they ever took. To empower themselves, their wives and children, leaving behind the citizenry. Liberians are dying. Liberians are suffering. If we were to have statistics to know how many persons have died since George Weah came to power, nobody will be thinking about, well, when I leave power, I want to take 50% of my salary. If I leave power, I want my wife to take certain percentage of my salary. If I leave before them, my children, before they turn 21, they must enjoy the state resources, while other children suffer in abject poverty. That was very disturbing. you know. And as good as it was for the people of Liberia, the House of Representatives rejected the Senate decision. That was the most profound decision by the House of Representatives. Because guess what? If that bill would have passed, it means every succeeding legislative branch of legislative representatives and senators, they will have to dig into the coffers, meaning they will have to live on Liberia for the rest of their life. So every 6 years, you will have different batch of people coming in. Maybe just not going to be elected to just be added to that number, right? Then Jensen himself, his wife, and his children be part of that. So you see how bad that law was. And guess what? Those persons who were behind the bill are people not just of the CDC, are people who people even think that they went in that place to represent Liberia. The Darius DeLong, the Vanish Sherman, the how you call him, Emmanuel Nokwe. Emmanuel Nokwe wanted to become president. He wanted to be president, or he wants to be president, and he's passing such a bad law, contrary from what good government should be like. People who should be thinking about Liberians. Somebody say, I want to be in power financially when I leave this position. And the worst of it is, this is not a tenure position. It's not a tenure position. And the one and you know what the law says? The law says the lawmakers should make laws. They should pass a piece of law that will deal with pension for what government officials and government employees. For what? On the basis of age and tenure. Lawmakers are elected for 6 years. Senators are elected for 6 years and 9 years. Senior senators for 9 years. So when you leave power, when you go to the people, that's not an honorable position. When you go, in fact, let me say this: if a representative goes to the poll and asks the people to be re-elected, and that representative is rejected, there's a reason why they are rejected. It means their performance was poor, so the people don't want you to serve again. So when the people don't want you to serve, they will pay you while you're sitting down. Then why should we have election? Let me just do selection instead of election. Select certain people. Let create a monarch system. You know, the king, the queens, the prince, the princess, or the princesses, the children of, so that you can just stay in power and you just control Liberia the best way possible you want it to be. Is that what you want? Liberia is a democratic nation, a free government. People who fought for this country to be where it is. You come in there to manage for a certain period of time. Now you want to create an avenue to put yourself in a position where you, your wife, and your children will keep being the beneficiary of the country resources. We want to say bravo to the House of Representatives on this matter. You know, we want to say bravo to them on this matter. When you do something like that, growth like this, people will praise you, people will appreciate you. But if you do something that is just savage, let me read some pieces of information here from what came from the house. All right. Okay. Now, for good reason for why we think the House did a very good job, we say, well, members of the House of Representatives angrily and unanimously voted to reject and return the Senate's bill calling for 50% benefit of salaries to some members of the three branches of government. Shame on the Senate. The House's record showed 25 voted in favor, while Honorable Solomon George of Mossorado County District 7 voted against their decision. Even Solomon George, who just recently made some ugly statement that we didn't favor him for, when he said he wanted to be defense minister and then he will crack down on people who will speak bad about the government. Even him, he saw reason to say, look, we cannot sit and empower ourselves while the Liberian people are suffering. That's an honorable decision. That is an honorable decision to appreciate. Another thing that people, even the senators, I don't know, when people all really want to do something wrong, they don't really try to follow through on doing the right thing. Why am I saying this? The title of the bill, listen to the title of the bill. It says, well, an act adopting an integrated pensions and benefits scheme for certain categories of officials of the government of the Republic of Liberia, and to repeal and or amend certain portions of Title 26 Legislative Act, Title 12 Executive Law, and Title 17 January Judiciary 1972, and the 2003 Act, which amend these laws. These things are all fundamentally wrong. Why am I saying that? Vanny Sherman knows that he's a lawyer. Imran Nukwe is a lawyer, and a few other persons in there that are lawyer. Now, the law, the Constitution says you cannot pass a piece of law with two different titles. Now you have compound, complex title in this bill. No wonder why the House, in fact, rejected this kind of a bylaw. Because you know what I'm saying? When the law is amended before, let's say, for example, you want to say Title 12. Title 12 was amended. Executive law and Title 17 was amended. The judicial laws 1972 were already amended. The 2003 Act, which amend these laws. So you cannot use all of those things in the title when you are creating. If you want to amend, because 2003, anybody who pick up 2003 law or the Act of 2003, that was, the transitional period, and that was what I was making reference to. The George Cocos administration, when they look at this law, you will realize that all of these laws you're talking about, they have already been amended. Right? So then to talk about amending any law, you should be amending 2003 Act, which has already amended all of the previous thing, you name it. So to come and name it in the title, it's just awkward. Then the body of the law itself is bad. It doesn't represent you, honorable members, to be representatives of the people. And you go, you say you're passing a piece of law. That law, when I think about it, I can never, except maybe I'm out of my mind, but I leave other people's children, even naturally, we interacting with people's children. You want to look at your children, you don't want your children to be seen as, in a very extra fact. You even risk the life of your children if that law was to be passed. You want your children to enjoy the wealth of the country while other people's children are suffering. Children are on the street. Some of them, this morning as we speak, some of them guess what? Just a willow market right on their head. Maybe they get a pot of peppers. Peppers that some of you people can just buy bags. Some of them get bitter balls, in our Liberian way, those vegetables. All right. And they have to sell it before they find food to eat. Some of them cannot even be in school this morning. Then you want to pass a law that will give privilege or privileges to your children. How bad that is. How bad that is. You know? So, I mean, the house, I don't know. I don't think the house did this thing for political reason. I don't want to think so. But I think some of them was just genuine. They saw reason why this thing shouldn't have been passed. you know if they did it for political reason, well, it's up to you. But that was the good nature of that, of the goodness of that bill, is that it saves Liberia's minimum mega resources. The budget, the country resources is being protected. That decision alone from the house protects the Liberian people money. We're emphasizing it because it is very significant that if that bill would have passed, it would have harmed Liberia furthermore. I don't think anybody should be thinking in those direction. It's like a father has food, and instead of even saying, "Well, let my children eat," he said, "No, let me eat, or maybe I get other children living with me. Let me eat, and let my biological children eat before other people's children can eat." That's just the badness of the Senate decision. So when we see senators now, how do you want Liberian to vote for you for the next time? How? Some of us said it, and y'all were not listening. And when you pass this bill, it will haunt you. We haven't even gone 1 week yet. You see how even your colleagues. Let me read for some of you. I hope some of the senators will get to listen to the video. Let me read some of the comment that came from the House of Representatives. Okay. The bill, which seeks to protect senior officials of the three branches of government, if passed into law, will allow 50% benefit to retired lawmakers, the president, the vice president, justices, as well as circuit court judges. It also indicates that the president will maintain 75% of his staff and assign security details following retirement. Can you imagine that? People, oh my God, you know, we don't know. I said it, we don't know the president's salary. Senators don't know the president's salary. The president fixed salary, they don't know it. Then you want the president to be taking 75%. 75% of what? 50% benefit to retired lawmakers for what? What? 50% of what? When you do not even tell Liberian what salary you're making. There is no law. The law says your salary must be set by law. None of you can show any piece of law that has set your salary. Don't tell me the budget, because the budget does not set your salary. None of you can go in our budget and show me a provision in it that say this is our salary that is indicated in the budget. None of you can say that. Now you want 50% benefit of your salary. What is your salary? It's not known. So when you pass this law, before you leave office, then you start managing money. People don't pass law these ways. You want to pass law, the first thing is the Constitution says your salary must be set by law. Let Liberian people let me go online and Google and see the salary set for speaker, deputy speaker, as executive committee members of the House of Representatives. Let me see that salary. Let me go on the Senate side and see the money that the pro tem makes, the executive committees and all of those people. Let me see what they make. Then we talk about 50%. I don't need to ask you if the speaker is making $12,000 annual. I would say okay, $12,000 annual you're making. So 50% of that I can do it, and I know okay when you retire, this is what you're going to be making. But you have not created the avenue for people to make a cogent analysis of what you intend to do. All you're concerned about is saying we must empower ourselves, empower our wives, empower our children. Even some of you, your wives. Liberian people don't know your wives. So by this accord, you all should even have the list of your wives at the place there and publish the names of all of your wives. Equally so, your children. Liberians need to know the children of all the people, your biological children. List them. Because you brought them in the public sphere. So you list those people so we can know them. Fair enough. If some of you are not married, okay, yeah, we're not married. Nobody, you're not supposed to be married. But if you marry, you must, because you want your wives to be beneficiary of state resources, then the Liberian people must know them. So we need to find the names of your wives and publish it too. You know, or find the names of your children. How many children you people have? How many children Dara Dillon has? Or how many children Nukwe has? Of Senator Sherman and all of those people, all of you people, senators, how many children you people having? We need to know that. So we publish the names. Because if you want your children to be beneficiary, we need to know them. Especially those ones that are under 21, if you have any. You know? So that's the basic issue. No, let me read further some of the comments, some of the very harsh comment that came from the House. In a heated debate on the floor of the House of Representatives in its Thursday extra sitting session, some members of the House frowned on the bill, terming it as draconian and only intended to suppress the already suffering masses. That's a decision of members of the House. Some of them are calling you. Some of your colleagues, like letters. They're saying, you, Senator, your decision is very draconian. Hence why it's such a bad law intended to suffer the people more. That's what they say. Not me saying it. Even myself joining to say it. That law was intended to suffer Liberia more. A very bad decision. And some of you people should be ashamed of why you signed up to such a bad law. The judicial committee specifically. They should be ashamed of putting such a law on the floor. And those who voted for it, all the people should be shamed this morning. All right? In separate comment, the lawmakers default with the Liberian Senate on the fact that the bill is savage, and as such, members of the House must reject it and treat it as though it never existed. That's just the words of some of the senators on last Thursday decision, where they rejected this entire bill. In your motion, Lofa County Representative Clarence Massacre asked for a second that due to its selfish motive of senators to deprive the unprivileged people of Liberia, the House should and return it to the Senate. That was the motion that was passed, that was put forward by the Lofa County representative. So the House, and let me be honest with you, this bill, the decision of the House, it will cover all of their bad deeds for the years. This bill could help a representative to be re-elected. And this bill could cause all of you senators to be rejected at the polls. Because if you go to the people are going to make, this speaks of your mindset, your mind, your true intent for wanting to be a lawmaker. This bill revealed that. It's not by accident. This bill was calculated, it was written, and it was debated, and you all signed up to it. You all put your hand up, voted yes. Yes, let the people suffer. Let our children enjoy. Let our wives enjoy. And when we leave, let we enjoy. That's what you people said. The presiding officer, Deputy Speaker Fonati Kofa, allowed almost all the representatives in session to state their opinion on the matter. In separate comments, members of the House made a case for the rejection and or acceptance of the bill. Honorable Frank Foko, the bill is wicked. That's what he called it. And it is from the belly of the devil. That's the lawmaker speaking, not me. Frank Foko. He says, a representative, he says, well, I think I need to lift this. The bill is wicked and it is from the belly of the devil. If another lawmaker say this bill is from the belly of the devil, so analysis of that is saying why the senators that voted for this bill, they are the devils. That's Fokoyo's analysis now. That's what he says. The bill is wicked and is from the belly of the devil. Let's defeat this bill and see to it that it should never appear here in the House of Representatives. Though it is from the House of Elders, but it should not be granted based on the current economic situation facing our country and people. That's what Foucault said, Frank Foucault. You want to know what Representative Miriam Kawo, is that Kawo? Kawo, I hope I'm pronouncing the name right. Kawo, okay? Representative Mary Grand Bassa District 2. She says, this bill will died and never wake up again. Because why? If you retire, go on your farm and don't look for benefit again. So we will not pass this bill and we will throw it in the Red Sea. That was the voice of you know. And when you see representatives speaking like this, Liberia is like, chill, come on then. It's like when you represent Liberia in that kind of a faction, people, there are most Liberia who don't care what is happening. All Liberia want is for Liberia to be better. So when you speak in the interest of Liberia, people, I don't know this lady, but her statement is honest. I don't know Fokoyo, but his statement is honest. When you do that, people are very certain of what the world is all about. You need a very good fight. Moses, oh wow, your microphone is so much better. Okay, that was Moses. Moses trying to join us this morning. He's from Maryland County, and so we hope that he solved the problem and be able to come right on back on. So you see what we're talking about. We're just looking at the decisions of these lawmakers, their voices. All right, Representative Clarence Gar, McGibby District 5. He says in a quote, people should do professional job instead of getting 50% benefit after serving the legislature or anywhere else. Because if we continue to do this, there will be more than 500 persons after 5 sitting, taking into consideration 103 representatives in each sitting. So let's reject it. Wow. This is powerful, Clarence, or Representative Clarence, and I hailed you for this because it's a perfect analysis. Imagine 103 senators and representatives this session, this sitting. If these people are allowed to enjoy the money, not only them, not only 103, their wives, so 103 senators and representatives, 103 women, wives, then the number of children, let's assume now, let me just take the minimum of two. All right, let's take the minimum of two. So those two times 103 would be what? Two what? 206 women or children will be added to 100, so that 103 times 2, 206. 206 times plus 206 plus another 206, assuming which is more than that. Children of these people, I guess most of the people have not less than two children, right? So they might have more than that, but they'll just factor in two. So we'll be talking about 206 plus another 206, that will be what, 412 persons for this city. So next election, so let's take focus. I think Clarence's suggestion is 500 persons will enjoy the state benefit for one city. So if you have 10 cities, I mean, in subsequence of what, 6 years, 6 years, 6 years, multiply that for the number of time, you will realize people, these people would have created more harm. They would have created so much harm, and that is why this bill, the rejection of this bill by House members, is a plus. Is that when you take one exam, they say their exam will cover all of the failing marks. Is like this passage, this rejection, rather not passage, this rejection, this decision by the House of Representatives, add to or cover most of their problems they have had with the Liberian people for years or for the years gone. Now that's something that I can be the one I can speak for Liberian. Liberian can decide, say, oh, okay, this one is just one decision. But other people, whatever your reason for which you have rejected that, it would have been for other reason. So other factors will be looked into and to see and to grade you people. Moses, how are you? We're still not hearing you, Moses. We're still not hearing you.
Still not hearing you. Okay, so like I said, you have muted my microphone, but at least you getting me now.
No, you had to lower your.
No, you have to lower your.
Hello.
Getting me now?
Yeah, but the
Am I
tone
sounding
is.
much better?
Yeah, but you can still lower.
Yeah, but you can still lower a little bit.
There's an
All
echo
right,
of
so
it.
yeah, so this morning I joined you from Maryland County, like you regularly said, and let me say a special good day to all of our folks who following the broadcast, and thanks very much for the opportunity. You know, this is what we really need to provide the awareness for our people to know how things are going in the country. Basically, it is not all about politics, but it's to just, lighting the people on the happiness in our society. You know, people should not just sit back and say, this platform will just be telling us about this, about that. But again, it is for the benefit of our people to know
Right.
those issues that have been discussed. And so, like you regularly put it, the parliament themselves have proposed a bill, where we have decision makers, those who decide for the country, decide the fate of the country. Now, among themselves, other groups have come out to say the bill in question is a bogus bill, and I want to see this bill. Just imagine one of the lawmakers describing the bill that bill is coming from the belly of the devil. That shows that the bill itself, it is not, a bill for the Liberian people. It has no benefit for the Liberian people. So even if you can imagine a lawmaker describing the bill, as a bill coming from the belly of the devil, that is anything that comes from the devil is evil. So the bill is not good for the Liberian people.
Right. Right.
So
that's a.
away from that, this morning I received a call from the county superintendent of Grenco County in presence of Doris Ninato, who's called the county superintendent of Maryland County, Honorable Josh April, that there's a prevailing situation happening along the coastal side, that is particularly in Grenco, where a vessel believed to be traveling from Nigeria and is heading to Senegal has allegedly dropped two persons in the sea, initially in around the picnic area, and this morning again also dropped another another 4 persons in the Galloway area. So as we speak, 6 persons are now in the custody or in the hands of the authority of Grenco County, who was allegedly dropped from one of the vessels that is traveling going to Senegal. So we want to also use this platform, this medium, to call on the international community and from other investigations conducted, they out of dropping people in the sea, or the United Nations Convention, they have conversation on issues on people dropping passengers or slowway people in the sea, and this issue was discussed in 1982, and later then it was also
Yes. Can you reduce the volume?
Okay, am I better now?
Yeah, it might be better.
Okay, so like I said earlier, the superintendent of Grenco County, Honorable Doris Ninato, have called Maryland County Superintendent in presence of Honorable Josh A. Proud, that there's a vessel leading from Nigeria and is going to, according to information from those who have been rescued from the ship, is traveling to Senegal, have allegedly dropped 6 persons in the sea this morning. two person was picked up from the picnic area this morning, and another four person were later then picked up from the sea again, making it six. So 2 plus 4, making it 6. So 6 person was rescued by the county authority of Grand Crew, and they are now in the hands of the county authority. So as we speak, this is the situation. And when we read some issues concerning the international law on those vessels traveling on the water, and they had one conversation from the United Nations Convention on those vessels traveling on the water, and from their 1982 conversation that they had, where they have to do with the regulations on people to be safe. That is, those who are traveling. If at all you have any issue with somebody who is traveling on the ship allegedly as a slower personnel, you have to turn them over to the nearby country and in the custody of the security apparatus. So as to do investigations, how that person got on the ship, and and how the person can get back to that country. And from that same investigation, we also established that in 1984, similar issues were conducted where the same United Nations Convention, they have other regulations on vessels traveling on the water, that if at all they have any issues with somebody on the ship, they should be able to rescue them. That's their life should be first, and they abandon other ships who are dropping people in the sea, and this thing should be put to an end. And from the message of the county superintendent this morning, Doris Nanto, she said that since the incident took place this morning, they have rescued the 6th person. The ship now is going to the deep sea, the deeper part of the sea. They try to contact the government of Liberia to see how best they can go there and see what other persons were also dropped before
Okay,
finding
Moses.
those who they are found now.
Moses, I think there are a few things that
Yeah, go ahead.
we could want to inquire. The first thing is if the ship dropped 6 persons in the sea, I am wondering how did that happen. Okay, was it that the ship came on the Liberian shores, or how did people get to know that people were dropped in the sea? And to drop people in the sea, what is the business of it's not, there's no clarity yet. So I hope that there will be a lot of more information to come out.
Okay, so yes, according to the county superintendent of Grand Crew, she said that normally in our section, those who are by the coastal land, those community along the coastal area, they normally go for fishing during the morning time. Okay. So when the fishermen went on the sea this morning, they saw the first 2 persons was on top, the ocean, finding way to be rescued.
Okay.
So when they rescued them, they saved them, they brought them on board, they tried to see how best to ask them 1 or 2 questions, right. And they said that they were from Nigeria. All of those who were rescued, they are not Liberians, they are Nigerians. And they came from Nigeria, and they were traveling to Senegal. But from the quote-unquote information I received, they did not go through the proper channel. That is going, through the proper channel, meeting with the captains, doing your due diligence, facing your passport, and what have you, getting stamps before going. So they allegedly got into the ship on a slow-way move, and they were traveling to Senegal because the ship is heading to Senegal. So when the county superintendent questioned them, these are information that they provided to the county superintendent. And later then, another fisherman again was coming from over the sea this morning at 3 to 4 a.m. this morning. They also called the county superintendent that they found another 4 persons along the Galloway Bell. So the 6th person, they are now in the hands of the authority of Grand Crew. So we also want to use this medium to call the international community to see how best they can, do, and speedy investigations, to check on their satellite, to check on the mini platform, to do an investigation, and know that shape, that was involved in, that attitude, so that they can do what they need to do, as international community.
Okay, I think thank you so much for those pieces of information. We will follow you on those information. But I think the government of Liberia has the paramount responsibility to investigate if there are any happening on their shows. Okay, and so we have Abraham. Welcome to a radio again inside Liberia. How are you?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Jensen. Let me say thanks to Moses. It's a pleasure being back on the show because, I experienced some difficulty with my phone, the internet, so forth, so the whole thing corrupt.
Okay.
But thank God I'm back. So
So
it's good.
what is the
And
update from you?
yeah, 2 minute updates. But Liberia is a country that on a daily basis, to be specific, Monrovia, major things occur. Uh, Over the weekend, the president of the University of Liberia, expressed total disappointment in students, despite the government announcing the university free. Uh, over 1,000 human beings attending the school. You got little over 10% of the students who have done with the registration process, maybe that tuition, and you got 90% of the students who are indebted to the university, which of course, according to the president, the fund generated from those students who are clear cannot even settle teachers or even get some equipment for the school or for the class as well. So that's one. Two, the issue of the rejection of the pension scheme bill by the lower house, a bill
Mhm.
that was being uh, agreed upon by the House of Senate, 23 senators agreeing that yes, this bill should be passed, and the president should veto it or maybe should sign it so that the 54 legislature, those within the upper, the lower house, the president, the vice president, the chief justice, and yeah. So those are people should benefit. Me,
Yeah.
me, pension, maybe 50% of their salary when they have left office.
Yeah.
And it brought huge argument when it enters to the lower house. In fact, the same day the House of Senate agree upon that, the bill was being spread on Facebook. The bill was being spread the same day. So at the time, it haven't reached the lower house. But
Mhm.
mind you, election is nearing, and you know that those senators who are agreeing upon those bills
Mhm.
are people that are being elected during the May 10th senatorial election, 2020 election,
Mhm.
who are now yes in their favor. But
Right.
forgetting to know that all the other senators who are going to election comes 2023,
Mhm.
they themselves too, they should have known to say, hey, I
Right.
can
Right.
redeem my post, but those Liberian people will my people will not entrust me to go back for the second term.
Right.
But they all being, I mean, 20, you got 23% agree, majority, you got
Majority.
majority.
That's
So,
majority. Yes.
it brought total disappointment, so yeah, so you see Liberians, they see the people started grounding, it started taking the airway, people started talking what they know, they won't, in fact, they won't elect some of those leaders. They started to express disappointment. Now, when the bill went to the lower house, you got people, the lawmakers, the lower house people, they look at the document keenly
Mhm.
and holding to the fact that 2023 is also nearing. They are going back to seek re-election. So if they happen to okay that kind of bill, obviously there will be a new breed of leaders. The
Right.
73 going to be booted out.
Right.
If you were to retain your post and you sign that bill, you'll be booted out, and people won't get no campaign message to preach for you. Say that the people didn't sign our money. They say that yeah 30,000. Then they say they want pension pay. For God's
Right.
sake, For God's sake, why would a lawmaker be, for example, taking 10,000 United States dollar? Then at the end of the day, when you are being, voted out of the post, you still get 5,000 as a pension benefit because that's fifty
Right.
percent.
Right. Right.
That's 50%, and that of which people are against, the electorate are against, and the lower house being cognizant to the fact you got lawmaker like James Collier, who is from Bon,
Okay, we have lost Abraham. We will get back to him. Yeah. Moses, is there any final comment from you? We have gotten
We have
the
gotten
issue
the issue
confronting
confronting
the six persons that
the
were
six
rescued.
persons that were rescued.
We hope that you'll be
Yeah.
able to
We hope
give
that
us some
you'll be able to
photos
give
or
us some
videos
photos or
from
videos
what's
from
unfolding
what's
in Maryland.
unfolding in Maryland.
Yeah, though other issues going to be discussed with the management of two-way radio family, so that we can
Mhm.
be able to get to those who were rescued by
Okay.
the locals and community dwellers, including the leadership of the county, Grand Crew. We're going to find our way there to meet with the
Okay.
authority there, and also get the messages and really get the clue, because
Right.
though they have conferred in the superintendent of Grenco, because she's a graduate of the president, she's there
Mm.
representing the president of the country in a particular
Mhm.
area of the country, and I think she was given due courtesy to be giving some business information, and those information were related to her. But again, I think it's also essential that we as a platform to bring their messages, to the
Right.
international world, so that people can get what really, conspire when they met the ship, or how they really got in contact with the ship. But from the quote unquote information that we gather so far, I think this is this is the information that we have provided to our audience, and all we just need from our audience is to just be a help to this platform. If you are following, and we begin with the conversation on those who were rescued this morning, please try to do your own best to share the information to other meaningful chat rooms where people are going to be a help to the situation. It is not about what we are discussing, but it's about people's life. Who knows who those could be?
Okay.
So
Okay.
let us be.
Moses,
Moses,
before we leave
Yes,
you,
before
how
we
is
yes.
leave you,
Maryland
how is
this
Maryland
morning?
this
The
morning?
weather
Well,
condition,
Weather
the
condition,
money,
the money,
the exchange
the
rate,
exchange
and
rate, and
yeah, general issue
the
concerning
general
the people
issue
in
concerning
Maryland
the people
County.
in Maryland County.
okay, so the general issue concerning the people in Maryland now is the autopsy report that
Okay.
was released by the doctors who that is the pathologists who conducted the autopsy. So the release was given to the county authority. The report was given to the county authority in presence of the county superintendent, Honorable George A. Proud. The report was given to him, and he received the report, but the report was not explained by the pathologist who conducted the autopsy. But when later then the rural woman headed by Madam Chris Walker, along with other co-workers, came, on the 2A platform and and other media platforms, expressing their regret that again from what they have been following since they were born, they understand that only autopsies explain, or only pathology explain autopsy report. So why should the county leadership just bring a copy of the autopsy report and not even explaining the clue in the report? So from that commotion, a few days later, other media practitioner in presence of the manager of Voice of Truth radio station, Patrick Nima Mesa, also were able to get in contact with the pathologist who conducted the autopsy, and he was able to explain some part of the report. He explained some part of the report because of his schedule, because according to him, he said he was engaged and he needed no too many questions to be asked, and he needed to do other work. So, a few questions were asked, and he answered them, and he left. He went for what he was going to do. So, as we speak, I'm currently posted here in Harper, where the county superintendent called on the media partition of the county that he wanted to have, a tete-a-tete discussion with us, but again, to no avail because of other engagement. The rural women headed by Madam Chris Walker, they are here in the office of the county superintendent. We are here to know what is in the pipeline. So this is where we are when it comes to the issues of the happiness of Maryland County.
Okay, I think they are all important information. We'll follow through on that. Let's go back to Abraham and hear his final comment. Abraham, you were in speaking when you were in speech when your phone went off.
Yeah, so like I was saying, yeah, yeah, the internet, that Liberia, chief. We here, so like I was saying, lawmakers from few of the counties, you know, made comments, separate comments. Some of them said taking the kind of money, taking the 30,000, people complaining. Then you coming up with pension bill that's supposed to be passed 50%. It's not in the interest of my people. If I do that, my people will go against me. You got Mama Bray Mensah from 36 Bon County. You got James Cole also from Bon County. You got uh, the lady from Bomi as well, uh, Fata Sanyo. You also got, a couple of the lawmakers who sat critically and analyzed that if we do this, it will go the other way. But
But
then
Abraham,
you
Abraham,
got Nima County
Abraham.
District 8 lawmaker Larry Yonkwood, who said if it is necessary. Yes, I'm hearing you. Go ahead, Chief.
Now the question is, we are getting all of the information. We know all of the lawmakers who signed up for this bill and
Wow.
those who, voted for.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you. Those who voted against the bill. So my concern is, what is the current situation? What are senators saying right now after the House, rejected this bill? What are you people hearing from the Liberian Senate?
Now, okay. Thank you. Now, the House of Senate, like they don't being a lead person in the entire thing because he claimed to be a transparent man, a man who will bring all of the D's to light. So after they have gone, some of them have gone agreeing towards that. Now they have realized, some of them have realized that if we do this, it will also humble us and also, humble the entire country. So we cannot do this. Now Senator Dillon is saying that he's not joining the team to fight that this bill should not be passed. After he has accepted that the bill should be passed, he has now come out to say he's supporting the idea that the bill should not be passed.
But
He will not support the bill.
Dillon is on record of voting. How then will you say the bill shouldn't be passed when he has already passed the bill and the bill was transferred? The bill was enrolled
In
to
a recent So this is where he's trying to convince the
so
public
he's
that
somersaulting.
although yes, he signed the bill, he accepted that the bill should be passed. When they were doing it like Kante, Maryland Kante,
Right.
they called the senator and the senator accepted. Grand Jida Kante, they called my Fabini, Major Dene, he accepted. So if the regional Kante, they call the Kante representative, if he accept, those that you see that didn't accept are people that are not in session or maybe they didn't vote, they didn't sign at all level open.
Okay. Okay.
For all
So
those you see their name surface are people that voted and said yes to the bill. Even
okay.
Grand Bassa Senator Yomli Kanga Lawrence, she accepted.
Okay. That's good. That's good.
So he coming back now to tell the public that, yeah, coming back to tell.
I don't know. I don't know. Okay, Abraham, you are freezing. We go right back to Moses. So Moses, give us your final comment.
So, well, I would like to, like I said earlier, let me firstly commend the two-way radio for the time given me to provide those basic information to our audience. Let me say thanks to the folks in Minnesota, United States of America, and all of our folks who are following the platform. Please share our video to those meaningful institutions, meaningful chat rooms, so that I can be able to do due diligence on the information I'm providing to you here concerning those who were rescued by the authority of Grand Crew on the vessel that is traveling to Senegal, and We want for our people to please leave your comment there. If you have any observation concerning our broadcast, leave your comment there. If you want to comment the broadcast, also leave your comment there. It is highly welcoming. And thank you very much for the time given me. So CEO, the idea or the responsibility is yours now.
Yeah, we'll talk that later. Thank you so much for
All right. All right.
Okay, so Abraham, what could be your final comment? I mean, this is something we're going to keep discussing, and we hope that we can have some more detail from senators, or maybe to get some voices from those representatives and even senators, maybe some other senators who did not vote for the bill, so that we can be able to give Liberian the best of information for these decisions will help them to make some further decision when it comes to going to election. Okay, so yeah, is there anything else that we
All
need
right.
to?
So yeah, let me say this, President. We have to, break ground for the construction of local hotels at Samarkand Sports Stadium in the coming days. So I just thought to say that and like to say thank you again, Mr. Jensen. Thanks
Well,
to the manager.
before you leave, you said what breaking ground for hotels.
Yeah, to be built at the sports stadium, Samarkand Sports Stadium.
Okay, okay,
Yeah, and public work minister also provide 100,000 to a church in the Labasi community Sinko for case situation on yesterday. Yeah, so basically before I leave, I like to say thanks to you, thanks to the audience.
what's about this
Though
information before you leave, Abraham? What's about this information about the former commerce minister, Winston Tapper,
concerning
concerning the Propo loan?
concerning the purple loan, I haven't gone down. I haven't
Okay,
gone depth
all
into
right,
that. I'm still
okay,
digging. I'm
all right,
still
all right, all
digging.
right, all right. Thank you. We're going to talk more on that later. Any final party comment? You were saying something.
So I like to say thanks to you, thanks to the manager, thanks to the entire followers, our viewers, those who watch us. I mean, every time of our presentation, congratulations. Keep following the African Action Online Network. It's a pleasure again. Have yourself a wonderful time. Join us Thursday for another edition of the program. Thank you, Mr. Jensen. It's a pleasure.
Okay, thank you so much, Abraham. It was a pleasant time to have you and Moses joining us this morning on Inside Liberia. And primarily, we've been discussing about the financial independence bill for members of the Senate, and that bill was proffered by the Judicial Committee of the Senate, and we want to say that decision was being rejected by members of the Senate, by the House. And so, yeah, that's how we want to close. But we see our patients are John Us, the manager. Patient, how are you?
Fine, thank you. We have a caller on the line.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Dole, you can make your contribution.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. Let me say good morning to your program, and let me say good afternoon to Liberians, and good morning to Liberians. No matter where you find yourself, I want to contribute quickly. I know you were telling people their final comment, but I want to contribute quickly to the national discussion. Mainly, it's about the pension bill.
Right.
And this is where we have to be very mindful. If we are not very curious and want to make in-depth research before we come up with issues, I want to be on record. I have seen the new bill, the proposed bill by the Senate versus the law that was passed in 2003, the pension bill for legislators. So the pension bill that was passed 2003, currently that is in force, that former lawmakers are benefiting from, it says they will benefit 50% of their salary. So people who serve the legislature one term, second term, or more, and they serve the legislature, they are benefiting from Liberian people taxpayers' money. A lot of people know that. The new law that is proposed by the Senate, I'm not a fan of many of the senators. Let me be very clear. Yes, I'm not here to back them. I'm not their spokesperson. I'm an intellectual. I want the best for Liberia. But what I've read in the new bills, we have a copy of. If you want me to mail that to you, you can put your address. We can mail that a copy of that bill to you.
Just make a point, Mr. Dolly.
Old law and the new law, the new proposal. The new proposal, what the senators voted for, they didn't even sign. They voted like a yes or no. Only those who were not in section are there. But what they voted for is that when you serve the legislature, except the pro tem, the speaker, and the deputy speaker. But once you serve the legislature, you need to get you be pension. Your pension benefit should be 10% of your salary. If you serve more than one time, it's 20. More than 2 times, like 3 times, they're going to be 30%. There's nothing in the new proposal from the senators that says they should pay them 50% of their pay on their pension. It is not true.
Mr. Dolly, Mr. Dolly,
Mr. Dolly. In the old law.
Hello, Mr. Dolly. Mr. Dolly.
Yes, sir.
Let me inform you that we have copy of the bill, and we have our correspondent who have provided us the copy. We can't upload that here right now, but we appreciate your input, and we will want you to, if you want to come on the show, we would appreciate that. But the issue is the 50% of the entire information. I'm aware of the 2003 bill that was passed. That bill was in confusion during the George Cocott time. I served as President Public Affairs Director at the time. I know much about that debate. All right. So that bill was at the end of the term. That was almost when Ellen was about to come in the picture. So whether this law exists or not, our argument is, does it really in this kind of a time? They said whether 10% or 15% or whatever it is, then is it in the best interest of Liberian? Is it a good thing to do? Do people be elected and after they have gotten so much money of the country resources, and then when they leave, they be paid such an amount? Those are some of the concerns we are having. So the issue of the percentage, again, I'm going to press Abraham. Do you care to make a comment on the 50% or the 10%? Just a minute, Mr. Dollar. I'll come right back to you.
Okay.
So I'll repeat again. As per the bill that the senators voted upon is 50%.
Okay.
50%.
Okay. So thank you. So Mr. Dollar, I know maybe you are, I guess you may not be in Liberia, or if you're in Liberia, this is an issue that we're following, and we'll be glad if you can furnish any other information to us. But the thing is, whether 10% or 50%, the issue of the people's interest, Liberia right now, there are people of other countries who suffer for their country to develop it. People live and they shouldn't be thinking about themselves. People should be thinking about generation. This is where we are coming in. I mean, it's not just to say we want to bottom up anybody here, but the law itself. It's in the interest. You don't have running water in that country. You don't have stable electricity. You don't even have electricity. Let me not say stable, covering the entire country or even more Moserado. You grew up in Liberia. You know how Moserado country was looking like before when it comes to electricity and water. You don't have those things. Children are selling in the street. Most children are not in school. Conditions are not well off. So we can't pretend about these things. This is where, and we are glad and we want to appreciate the House, and even the House members are saying 50%. And this is where I don't want to agree with you when you say 10%, because the House that voted for this bill, all of their voicing. You want me to quote them? I can quote them again. Most of them said the 50% bill is evil, is wicked, and they don't think it should be passed because it just added to the suffering masses, problem of the suffering masses. So you can conclude with your comment, Mr. Darling.
Thank you very much. And I agree with you partially. Liberia's situation is like a grandmother or a grandfather.
Right.
Every time when day breaks, she or he comes up with, oh, my hair hurting. When you give them something for painkiller, the next day my back is hurting. And then the next day my leg is hurting because that's old age. So Liberia's problem is complex. There are a lot of things that we should have taken care of before. We are still, fighting with them. So there are so many challenges in the country. And I also understand that there's lack of confidence in the governance system of our country because from one government to another, our leaders have demonstrated that we should not trust them because of what they've been doing. But there are other side that we should also look at. I being in Liberia, I just left from there 4 days ago. I live in Liberia. I'm here in the US and back in Liberia. I know everything that's happening there. I'm part of the intellectual discourse of the country. Anything about national issues, I'm very concerned. But what I read is that the bill that is being proposed is actually 10%. And I understand right now the emotions, because most of the entire House of Representatives, they are going for re-election. So right now, politics is at the highest peak in the country. Everything is politicized. Why we understand that there's a need for us to look at those basic social services. Healthcare is a challenge. People are being denied when you go to the hospital. They say no bed. They have to send you to another place, which is a very major concern. Education is a concern. Right now, schools are open. Parents don't have money to send their children to school. Addiction has taken over the country. I'm a victim of that. They stole my laptop bag in a car. People are on drugs in the country. So many things are happening that we need to pay attention to. But again, there is no specific time that we say let's wait, to discuss about people pension, because also pension depends on livelihood. They have served the country. If they were elected, they were elected by the people of Liberia. Pension discussion is not a wrong thing, because your country needs to make sure that when you are no longer in a working age group, if you work for your country genuinely.
Mr. Dale, let me just come in. Let me just interject a minute again. The Constitution of Liberia, Article 34L, it gave the House or the legislature the opportunity. They have the right to pass a pension law. But you know what it says? They say they are supposed to pass a pension law for government officials and government employees. That's what the Constitution says. And on what? On the basis of age and tenure. So when you look at this element of this constitutional provision, the law that just passed, it does not meet the standard of what the Constitution calls for. So that's one issue. But I'm not going to bother. I just want to throw that in. So go ahead.
Yeah, so let me just conclude by saying you are right, but the problem, like I told you, the complexity that is attached to our country, there are a lot of complex situations. The same country, there is a social security law.
Right.
There is a social security law that covers the workforce of Liberia, whether public sector or whether the private sector. And that social security law has been working. So when you work with government, you retire, the government is supposed to make sure that your social security contributions are paid to social security for the time you'll be working for. If you work in the private sector, it's the same. And when you are retired, they send you over to your social security process you and put you on pension. The only thing we have problem is that how do we align the law, the policies, and to make it one to cover the entire country? There are so many different pieces of policy document, and from one place to another, we need to make sure that we put them together to support what the Constitution is saying. So that's another debate for another day. I agree with you. All the laws are on the book, but different things are happening, and and at the end of the day, we need to synchronize it so that we can have a one and genuine government for our people. But again, I maintain that I have read the law, and I've read that proposal from the Senate. They are asking for 10% instead of 50%. It's outrageous. It doesn't meet current day reality. It's too much for our people, and that's why they should reduce it. It's being politicized. I have a copy of that new proposal from the Senate.
Okay. Please share with us, Mr. Dole. I will appreciate you share that with us. We will also post what we have in our possession. Maybe likely the information that is filtering might be a little different. Either we get it wrong or you getting it wrong. So just share that with us. We will scrutinize it and also be able to put that out for the public view.
Okay. Well, thank you very much this morning. Thanks for having me on your show.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it, Mr. Dole. Who is Mr. Dole, if I can? Maybe so that people who listen to you will know who Mr. Dole is before you leave.
Oh, where am I right now?
No, your full name and probably some
okay.
information
So
you
my name
want
is
to.
Curtis Dole. Yeah,
Okay.
I come from the student and youth community of Liberia.
Okay.
I'm a former student leader from Carleton University. Of course, we all are very concerned about the leadership of our country. So I was once a national youth leader, like you see the guy from the CDC. So I was once a national youth leader for the UP. We said and we stay convinced that Ambassador Joseph Boakai would be a better leader for Liberia, who says
Okay.
he lives in that struggle. So I'm one of those who work with him.
Okay, okay, we get your view now. Okay, but anyway, thank you so much. This is your platform. Feel free anytime you want to discuss issue. But we are not here for Joseph Barker, Alexander Coming, Joe. We just want the issues to be discussed. So feel free anytime you can come onto the radio and we'll welcome you. Thanks this morning
No,
for your
I was
input.
just trying to identify myself. I'm not one of the
I
show to
appreciate.
put
I
my
know.
house in
Trust me, and we appreciate
online.
you. I mean, that's being open
Yes.
minded. We appreciate that. Thank you so much, Mr. Darling.
Yeah, thank you very much, and thanks for discussing about our country and how we can find a better common ground to make it work for all of us.
Okay, thank you. Have a pleasant day. Well, Abraham, before we close, time is fast, but we are 5 minutes late. What do you make of, just in summary, what do you make of Mr. Dollar's comment? No comment, right?
So, like you regular put it, probably, yeah. I got a comment. I just want to say something.
Yeah,
Probably they are going to propose a new one that
right,
is still within their cover. Maybe somebody just screenshot and send to him,
right.
which of course is not been released. But as per the first one that have been agreed upon by the 23 senator is 50%,
I agree. I just saw the law. In
not
fact,
10%, but
Abraham,
50%. So,
Abraham,
like what he has said, I'm going to.
I tried to upload it. I just saw it when you was reading, when you was speaking. I went straight to the law and I saw it. I have it. Even tried to upload it, but it can't permit me right now. So we'll upload it later. And that's what I said. Let it share. Maybe he could be right. I mean, people are punishing us with information, so he could be right. Let's see what the law says, the one he proposed, and we get the one from the House, and we can make a lot of comparison. If the senators are proposing something new, we also want to follow that. But I know sometimes what can happen behind the scenes at the legislature. Sometimes people, when they pass this, when they discuss these things, the engineers behind the scene, they go and do other stuff. So for me, I know sometimes one of those things, somebody would have taken that and sent it out to him. So he couldn't be wrong. What is in his possession, I guess that's what he's speaking about. But in actuality, the document that went before the House, and why the discussion that we got from the House is a document we will rely on. Howbeit, if he has any document, if he send it to us, we'll also study that and be able to provide the best information that we can. All right. So I want to say thank you
Thank
so much
you.
to you, Moses, and for Gabriel, who joined us. And let me see whether we have any comment yet before we join. There are a few comments here, and this is from Nevin. Is that Kibe? Kibe? This is Melvin Kibe, right? Kibe, right?
Yeah,
He's been watching from
yeah,
Liberia,
Melvin,
West Africa,
Melvin
right?
Kaive, Melvin
Yeah.
Kaive.
Yeah. Then we have Augustus Vaughn. They are lying. They plan to come to Liberia. Okay, I think making reference to Moses' statement where he says 6 persons were dropped, in the sea along the Liberian
Mhm.
coast. Yeah. So, well, we're going to follow that, Augustus. That's the information we got. And we have Alice. Alice is following from Zambia. And Curtis, I want to, okay, this guy, Dole, Curtis V. Dole, he's,
Yeah, darling.
yeah. So that was good. And so, yeah, that's how we end today's program. I want to say thanks to all of you that are watching, Abraham and Moses. We want to say thanks to the two of you. Let's keep up the good work, and we will talk behind the scene as to what we can further do to continue to strengthen, our broadcast to Liberia and the world. Also, patient who behind the scene, we want to say thank you too for being the anchor person and for bringing on Mr. Dole. We want to say thanks to you all. Until next time, this is 2A Radio inside Liberia. Stay tuned, be safe, and make sure that you listen to the issues that can help you to make an informed decision come 2023. Until next time, patient is all yours to end the broadcast.